Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending ThankView's call centers panel webinar today. Very grateful to have you all here. We'll just keep rolling here. I know we've got quite a few others to pop in, but we're going to proceed, introduce our panelists, and dive into a series of questions that the ThankView team has compiled to ask our distinguished panelists today. But then we want to save a lot of time to allow you as the attendees to ask your questions. So you'll be able to ask your questions in the chat box, and our panelists will be able to address those as well. We also have another member of the customer success team, Delaney, hanging out as an attendee today as well, who can help field some questions as well. So let's proceed through here. My name is Katie, and I'm a customer success manager here at ThankView. I've been with the company since August last year. I actually came from Cedarville University, where I worked with two of our panelists. So very excited to reunite with them and get their insight on how to utilize ThankView with a call center. But we also have Chelsea Skolzacek with us as well. So I will be silent for a minute and let each of them introduce themselves to you all.
I assume we're starting with Angie, right?
Yes.
Okay. I missed that little instruction. I'm Angie Bartel. I'm the Director of Annual Giving at Cedarville University in Ohio. And I have been doing this for a while. I've been at Cedarville for almost 2 years and do the normal annual giving stuff. So it's giving days, phone-a-thon, direct mail appeals, e-appeals, stewardship, donor relation type work. So it's fairly standard, nothing unusual in terms of what I do as part of annual giving. And beyond the obviously raising for the annual fund, but helping other areas on campus raise athletics and different departments.
Thanks, Angie.
And I guess that's me then. I am Stephen. I am the Cedarville University Student Ambassador Supervisor. So all the people that call and reach out to small-time donors, anywhere between $5 and $1,000. We call those people, we communicate with them, we maintain relationships, and overall, we just want to make sure that they know that we care for them. It's more of a ministry. So.
All right, and I'm Chelsea Skolzacek, Assistant Director of Annual Giving at Minnesota State University in Mankato, Minnesota. I've been in my role for about 5 years, and I'll have to mirror Angie and Stephen's roles as well. We do direct mail, call center, we do crowdfunding, fundraise for athletics, and we have been using ThankView for over 3 years and have sent over 130,000 ThankViews. So that's pretty cool. We have a 16-station call center using Ruffle Noel Levitt's campus call and employ about 30 students.
Awesome. Thanks, Chelsea. And thank you all for being on the panel today. It is definitely an honor to speak with partners that use the platform and use it successfully. So very excited to hear what you have to say and share that with others. So we're going to start off by some questions that the ThankView team has compiled just based on what our partners are asking about, what we have identified as some of the questions that highlight what you do. But let's start off with something maybe not so simple, but how are you guys doing? I know that we're all just living in a weird time. So, how are you doing? How are you handling working from home? Stephen, as a senior at Cedarville, how are you coping with all of this? Just share with us.
Yes. So schoolwork has been lighter, I would say, because I don't have to go to classes and everything, but still projects, still a lot of stuff that I need to keep up with. And then also, Angie's been gracious enough to keep me working with Phone-a-thon. So I'm currently putting together the Phone-a-thon Supervisor Handbook. So that'll be passed on to the next person or next supervisor. And then also just doing a couple of other things for Phone-a-thon on the side. So I've been keeping busy.
Awesome. Angie, Chelsea, how about you guys?
Same. Working from home has been quite different, but my days just fly by. I'm kind of surprised how quickly they move, but we just have a lot going on, and so it's going pretty well.
Well, I'm lucky. I worked at home on different, every so often, so it wasn't too abnormal. But yeah, just keeping focused and making sure you have, when Friday rolls around, you've got to figure out how to get into your weekend so that it's different
Right.
than the work week. And I think that's important. So I think I've done fairly well. I try not to think about work for the 2 days that I am still at home.
Right. Well, we hope that you all continue to do well, and let us know how we can help, especially with regards to ThankView and things like that. We're really trying to assist our partners as best as we can, and want to be there for you guys in whatever you need. So thanks for sharing about that, and really appreciate you taking the time to do this. So let's dive into some of our content related questions. So our first question is, what is the current status of your call center, and how have your goals evolved in response to COVID-19? I know both universities have adjusted some things and have responded accordingly. So share with us how Phone-a-thon looks different right now.
Well, I guess I can start. I mean, obviously about, what was it, the second week into March, everything at that point we knew we couldn't make normal calls. And so we did stop solicitations. I believe that's what most people started to do at that point in time. I think Ohio was a little ahead of some other states, but we quickly just stopped asking for solicitations and have not done so since. And we just immediately started changing into using ThankView primarily, although we did make some calls initially just for thank yous. So that's what we've done. So our goal now is just stewardship. That's it. And then we prepared for our giving day, and we went ahead and did that. And so we had the students, wherever they were, who wanted to, they could create thank you videos as gifts came in throughout the giving day. So goals, there's no more solicitation. So what we raised is what we raised. So that's the end of that. But I think what it's done for me, we've always used Phone-a-thon for some stewardship. That's always been there, that donor relations side. But I think this has just made it more obvious to me that I think we can be more creative and much more intentional. And I think using ThankView, we do use ThankView anyway with Phone-a-thon, but with our call center. But I think we're going to be more intentional of how are we going to have our students, the student callers, do more on the donor relations side and not always be soliciting throughout the year.
Definitely. Yeah, that's great. The change in circumstances kind of opened up a lot of people's eyes to how video communication can really be effective, in even the normal rhythm of life. So that's great. Really encouraging. Chelsea, Stephen, anything to add or elaborate on there?
I guess I could touch on it as well. Throughout the year, whenever we're calling, one of the things that I say to the callers that I heard somewhere was that we should focus on what we can do for the people that we're calling and not what we can get from them. And then they'll be more led to give, and we don't really have to worry about that. We just have to focus on what we can do for them, because that really shows them that it's a relationship. And so I think the initiative of changing over from raising money during this hard time to creating thank you videos for people who have given, especially on the giving day, I think that impacted a lot of people, and it showed people that our university does care about them.
Yeah, that's great. Relationship is definitely the key to fundraising.
Indeed. Yeah, at Minnesota State Mankato, we kind of paused all solicitations. We recently sent out an email from our president to our campus. So we have kind of a campus drive going on right now, which has been very successful. We've raised over probably $30,000 in about 2 weeks for that. And that's focusing on our emergency grant fund for our students. And then we also sent out an email to everyone in our database with a valid email that was solicitable. with this kind of the same president's note, kind of giving an update about what's going on campus, how we've changed things, but that our students do still need support. And a lot of them are unemployed right now, so they're not quite sure where their next meal is coming from. And so that's been fairly successful too. We sent that to over 108,000, 108,000 emails. And between the two campaigns, we've raised almost $50,000, which is really cool. But we are still using ThankView for stewardship.
Awesome. Congratulations on, those amazing statistics there. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was very, very heartwarming to see the community support our students.
Yeah, for sure. Love that. So then kind of piggybacking off of that, Angie, you mentioned it a little bit, but what are your student callers up to? I'm sure when all this upheaval began, a lot of them were wondering about their jobs and, some semblance of income and things like that. So how have you adapted and worked with that?
Well, I mean, I think Stephen kind of alluded to that. I mean, I tried to make sure that they had a job or work if they wanted it. Some of the students, and we don't have a big call center, so, that worked, and it worked out fine in the end, but some chose to just, they returned home and they were okay stopping. And they a few did that, but most tried to engage. And I kept saying, hey, if you want some hours, you got them, so we just made sure that if they wanted them, that there was a way for them to earn some income during this time. So I think, and I've worried more like for Stephen, because Stephen he's going to be moving, graduating, he's married. And so I really wanted to make sure that he had, some income coming in. But I think most of the students seem to be doing very well. The ones that, we're going to have a party this week, Zoom party, end of year party, since this would have been the last week of calls anyway. And I'm hopeful that, it'll be a good time for everyone to get together.
Definitely. Chelsea, what about you?
Our student callers seem to be doing well as well. I make it a point to call each of them once a week, just kind of check in on them, make sure they have food and resources that they need. And they all seem to be doing pretty well. Adjusting to online courses has been a struggle for some, but most of them seem to be doing pretty okay. And we are very fortunate. We are a state institution, and from the state level, it was decided that all students will get paid what they normally would have been paid if they had like a set hours per week. So that's been very awesome. But we are having them opt in if they want to kind of volunteer their time, since they're getting paid already, to do some future solicitations. We're thinking about reaching out to Libans who haven't given this year, and doing second asks and something with Sybins.
Awesome.
And then obviously thank yous.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome that, the state's been able to really support student income, and then, letting them volunteer their time. Some of them may not be as busy as they were. And so, being able to give back in a sense, that's an awesome opportunity there.
Yeah. And we also think it kind of creates some sort of normalcy. They're probably bored as well. And so.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So our next slide is actually going to be kind of transitioning into some of the nitty gritties. I saw a question come in asking about specifically how ThankView is working with student callers. And so we're going to actually showcase an example of that from Cedarville. And then we'll dive into a bit more of that and have you guys as a panel kind of piece apart how, your process is. But let's go ahead and showcase this video before we proceed.
Hi, Mrs. Garman. My name is Elisa, and I'm a freshman social work major at Cedarville University. I'm so happy to be able to make this video for you from my home as we continue classes online to support the social distancing request made by the Governor of Ohio. So we're taking this opportunity to reach out and say thank you so much for all that you do as a supporter of Cedarville University. As a student here, it really does mean so much. Your gift was so appreciated this year, as are your prayers. So as we reach out and we say thank you, we also want you to know that we are in prayer for you and your family and your health in this difficult time. So if you have any specific prayer requests for us, we would love to hear those. And you can click the link right here down below and just let us know what some of those are so that we can lift you up in prayer together. We're just inviting you to join us as we present our requests before the Lord and ask that He would take away any fear of the unknown that we might be feeling and replace that with His peace. Thank you once again, Mrs. Garment, for all that you do. It really does mean so much. God bless you and have a great rest of your day.
So that's an example of what Cedarville has been doing during COVID-19. And so just a very stewardship-driven call, very relational, just, you know, a video that showcases, hey, we're all in this together. Thank you for your giving, a status update on how things are rolling at the university right now. Just a really great example of how to utilize student callers during unprecedented times. Definitely not a normal video they would be creating at this time, but a great way to adapt and still maximize the platform. So that was really well done. Really excited to see that. But you know, we've talked about COVID-19 and call centers and how you've been working with that. So transitioning a bit more to quote unquote normal circumstances. So your standard processes as a call center. So how do you guys utilize ThankView? What is your process? Is it stewardship, appeals, things like that? Just walk us through that.
I think I can answer part of that. Much of the appeals are done through different areas. I don't know if Angie does any appeals or anything like that, but our Phone-a-thon, our annual giving site, what we do with ThankView regarding that is primarily stewardship. So someone gives us a gift. What we do is we immediately put their email in ThankView, we make them a video, and we send it on its way. So they make a gift, 15 minutes, 20 minutes later, maybe even just at the end of the day, they get a video saying thank you so much for your gift. And so it's a really quick turnaround under normal circumstances, just to do some stewardship stuff and say thank you so much for your gift.
Yeah, same. We usually do the phone calls, and then if they give or pledge to give, we have 2 different campaigns we send out, and it's immediate. The student will flag a supervisor and write down the person's name and email address and any other notes they want to reference in their video. And then the student goes into a different room that's quieter than the call center and records their video. And then the student supervisor sends it. So it's almost immediately after the phone call for us.
So your student supervisor reviews the videos that are, produced before they send out.
Correct.
Okay, awesome. Angie, did you have anything to add to that?
Well, I mean, we use ThankView beyond the call center, but if we're specific to the call center, then Stephen answered it. Otherwise, we do birthday, use it for birthdays, and looking at actually for this for Giving Tuesday now, potentially using it for appeals.
Awesome. So the next question kind of plays off of, sort of a sub question here, but who creates and reviews campaigns, who uploads recipients? So kind of getting into the details of who is making all the magic happen.
Well,
go ahead.
From Cedarville's point of view, we don't actually have, we don't usually upload a bunch of names into ThankView, just anybody that we might be calling. So it's, other than we did that for Giving Day because we had a number of people that we could upload all at once. So, in a lot of, most of the time, it is manually uploaded. Stephen, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's how we do it.
No, that's right. That's right.
We're manually, so each time the student is going to do it, they are manually inputting the name and the email or cell phone of the individual. And we're doing them like that, as opposed to having thousands of names in there that will not ever get a ThankView.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then after creating it, and I manually upload them whenever we get a gift. I just review them immediately after they're made or at the end of the day, whenever I have time available to do so. And then I send it on its way.
For Mankato, for specifically call center related campaigns, they're imported manually one at a time after each pledge or gift. But we also, and I create the shell of the campaign, but the student supervisor does have the ability to edit the content in the message if there is a specific topic or something that the donor and the student talked about that they want to reference in the text. They do have the ability to edit that, but usually I create the campaigns, and then I just counted and I made a list of different ways we use ThankView, and we have over 30 different ways. So
Incredible.
there's a lot of, yes, there's a lot you can do with ThankView, and it's just quite amazing. But for the most part, call center related, the students do it. And then if we do a solicitation or anything, I would upload the recipients. And we also have day students who thank people who've given through email or through direct mail. And then those day students have the ability to upload their own recipients.
Awesome. Chelsea, that's awesome. Would you be interested in sharing your list of 30 plus ways to utilize ThankView with me and Delaney, and then we can distribute that?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Happy to.
Cool. We'll circle back around on that after the webinar today. So again, another sub question here. What is the timeline from phone call to ThankView send? I know Stephen touched on it briefly, but just to confirm your processes here.
Sorry, are you asking me?
I mean, anyone can answer that. I know, Stephen, you kind of addressed it. It could be immediate, within 15 minutes of the call, that sort of thing. But Chelsea and Andy didn't know if you had anything additional to add.
Yeah, ours is pretty immediate.
Okay.
Basically right after the phone call.
Okay, gotcha. Awesome. So then, stepping away a little bit from the external process there, but what about specific call to action buttons, subject lines, email messages? Have you seen any particular success with any strategies you've taken on the campaign setup side of things?
I love the merge first name into the subject line feature. We have one campaign with an 85% open rate, and I kind of want to attribute it to their name being in it, so they know it's personal and just for them.
Awesome.
And let's see, we've had some just simple subject lines like thanking you. That one has a 70% open rate. A personal thank you from Minnesota State Mankato has 60. And so most of our open rates are over 50%, which is quite awesome.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
For calls to action buttons, I know one of them that we use is see your impact, and that would be if they gave a gift, as in a credit card gift over the phone. And that one has seen a lot of people drive to the impact page that we created on our website. And then we usually just have like fulfill your gift below or here, and that one doesn't have as many clicks, but people still do click on it and sometimes fulfill their pledge online.
Right. I love that see your impact concept. I think that is definitely a trend that is happening in donor relations and stewardship is people want to see what their gift is doing. So that's awesome.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think one of the things that we saw in Phone-a-thon where we got a lot of responses was when we asked them for a response, such as in our COVID initiative, when we were asking people for any prayer requests or anything that we can be or anything that they wanted to share with us that we could write down and know about them in the future, they could reply. And I think just asking for that in the videos helped better the relationship. So.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, we've kind of talked about a lot of your processes here, and I want to highlight one of Mankato's standard thank you videos. It's very brief, but very, very well done. So let's watch that now.
Hey Rand, my name is Kara and I'm a student here at Minnesota State University Mankato. I just wanted to reach out and say thank you so much for your gift and for choosing to support us. You are truly making a difference in the lives of students like me, and we are beyond blessed by your generosity. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Awesome video there, Chelsea. Love it.
Thank you.
Love the background. So, is that a specific wall outside of your call center, or is that a movable, portable kind of backgrounds?
We have two different backgrounds we use primarily. We have one that's purple with our campus flame on it and our logo. And then we have a wall that we kind of put, I guess you call them like fathead stickers of our flame logo as well.
Awesome.
And neither one of them are movable, unfortunately, but we have a lot of pretty places on campus that we were able to have as a nice backdrop, so that works too.
Awesome. So, you've sent your thank yous and are stewarding and relating with your donors. So What kind of responses have you received? I know, Chelsea, you shared with us a video response that we can, share with our partners, but what kind of written responses or just general engagement statistics have you guys seen from your constituents?
All positive, awesome things. People seem to love ThankView. I actually compiled a couple lists. So last year around graduation time, we sent out an email to every donor for that fiscal year with a student actually at commencement. And it actually won the best thank you award for the thank you video. Yes.
It sure did.
Very big honor. But we had people respond directly to her saying, congratulations, Alicia, on a milestone you've achieved at Minnesota State Mankato. I hope grad school is everything you expected plus more. It was great to see your video message and heartwarming to see your enthusiasm, Alicia. Every best wish for your continued success in your studies and in whatever you choose to do next. I will continue to be a donor at MSU because I am always grateful for the education and experience it gave me. Oh, this one's worth mentioning too, real quick. I love the work you guys are doing and love this video. It's so personal, fun, and real. This video made me take a moment to enjoy the gift of giving and see the fun it brought her. Pretty rad.
That's awesome. Yeah, those, I was reading through the responses you shared in the email with Delaney and I was just blown away by just the impact that ThankView is having on your constituents, and so glad that you guys are receiving that positive feedback, that people are taking the time to do that.
Indeed. And actually the student that was in the video from Minnesota State Mankato you shared, she actually received an internship opportunity from one of her videos.
No way.
Yeah, he sent a video response back with him and his wife in the kitchen and was like, hey, this is me. Thank you so much for your heartwarming. Thank you. And I just want to let you know you seem like the perfect person for this internship. Like, feel free to contact me after your graduation or whenever you're ready for an internship. And so I've kept that one.
That's incredible. That is the ultimate feedback, I would say.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
That's amazing. Angie, Steven, what about you?
Well, we definitely did get some great responses. I think a lot of times, like with this I don't think we get as many responses just for the normal, hey, thanks for your pledge. I mean, we get a few, but not an overwhelming amount. But we did get quite a few during our giving day. And the ones that I liked were, hey, this is so, I've never seen anything, I've never gotten anything like this. And so that pleasant surprise that they get from something so unique. And then one that stood out, I think for me was, it was actually a faculty member who got one. And they sent an email. They didn't actually, it's funny because they didn't reply back to it. They sent an email to somebody within our area.
Yeah.
And just with like, oh my gosh, here we're trying to encourage the students and they encouraged me instead. I'm blown, so that feeling that they got something back that, they didn't expect. And they wanted to know how the students were chosen and how this was working. So I think that was neat to see somebody who on campus itself, feeling really good about a video that they received from a student. And they're working with students, so you would think that they would get that anyway, but they really, really liked it. So it was kind of a nice way to, any feedback we get is always positive. I've never got any negative, obviously, but always positive and always makes you go, you know what, we are on track. This is the way to go. We're using a great tool.
Awesome.
I was just looking back through the email because I remember during that campaign, we got a lot of responses. I mean, there were times where my phone was just buzzing like crazy because I was getting so many responses sent to my email, because that's where it's directed to, is both to Angie and to myself. And so I was just looking back through some of them while we're on the topic of this. And one of them says, thank you so much for your kind note, Elisa. It's great to put a face with a campaign. I pray that your sophomore year will be a smashing success. And so just the fact that they get to see the students that they're impacting, I think has a huge impact on them. And another person said, this was the most powerful and encouraging appreciation message. Thank you for being obedient to God's calling in your life. And so I just think it's cool how not only are the students making these videos and people being able to see them, but they're also getting to see the students that they're impacting directly. And so I've given these students a chance at coming to the university of their choice. And so I just think it's really cool that they get to put a face with a campaign.
That's awesome. Those are all just great examples, and I hope that you all continue to see that kind of feedback from your constituents. At this point, thank you. We've asked our questions, but now it's time to hear from the attendees. I have, at least 9 questions sitting here in the Q&A box that I'd like to kind of work through. So first of all, from John, is there a certain dollar amount that qualifies a recipient to receive a video from the call center?
We don't have any threshold. If you gave 5, you're going to get one. If you gave 1,000, you're going to get one. So we would all receive it.
Awesome. Let's see. I think there was one kind of similarly connected. So someone else asked, let's say you receive gifts from 100+ donors. How do you orchestrate the individualized videos for that many gifts?
Well, I guess I can speak to that now since we did our giving day.
Yeah.
And we made this attempt and learned some things from it. I think it's doable. I just was approaching it, I think, initially, not realizing we were going to get such a very high response. I mean, we did get way more donors than we expected. And so what we started the day where I was looking them up because I wanted to be able to give the students, I was adding them to a Google form, the names as they were coming in with the emails, initially assigning them to a student, and then kind of put, okay, who they are, so, are they an alum? Are they faculty, whoever, something about them so that they could be more personal in their video. And so that was kind of going along fairly well, but I started getting so far behind. I could not look them up anymore. So that was the mistake, is to assume that somehow I could keep up with that. But I thought, I'm home, I could do this. So we then changed, and our students, we don't use a calling service or anything like that. So our students do manual calls, dialing. And so they have access to our constituent database. They can't see some people's records, but they in general can go in and see people's records and make calls and those kinds of things. So the students started to, names were being added, but they then just started to look the person up themselves before they made the videos, so that the videos, we really did make the videos super personal as long as we could, and as much as we could. And then the day after, we about midday switched out to just using a general video from one of the students, because we realized we just could not do that many specific individualized videos. I like the idea. I want to be able to do that because I think those videos were so much stronger than just the general video. But if you expect a huge number of gifts, or a large number of gifts, well over 250, 300-ish, we were over that, then I think you have to look at it a little bit differently. Does that answer the question? Hopefully that did, but that's kind of where we approach. That's what I learned from it, and doing this for the first time on a giving day.
And I think it's definitely one of those things where having the manpower to keep up with consistent giving. I think if you're handling just a chunk of recipients at once, that you've already uploaded into the system, you can use, recipient segmenting within the platform and other things like that. But if you're trying to keep up with 200, 300, 400 gifts, that's something where you want to have your team established, to have multiple students working on that. Definitely.
And to put a number to it, I think we made around 200 videos. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think we made around 200 videos. I'm not sure exactly.
Over 200, like 250. I think we did half of the videos. Half the videos were personalized.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then the other half, it was just so much. So.
Yeah. And that kind of addresses another question that we got about, incorporating Phone-a-thon students into your giving day strategies. If you set the expectation to your students to, hey, you're going to be part of our call center, but also as part of other advancement initiatives like giving day, I think setting that expectation is key. That way they know, hey, I'm going to be pulled in for other things that can mean more hours and other incentives, but that at least gets them on board right away.
And I think if we had had more students working, on that day. I think we could have maybe kept up a little bit better, but we didn't have all of our students sign up. And so that made a difference. So I think if you have a larger call center, more students than we do, like at a larger university, then yes, I think you could probably do it a little bit better.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'd have to mirror what you guys are saying too. We have two students who work about 30 hours between the two of them every week, and their sole job is to thank people.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's awesome. And again, unprecedented times. So, you know, there's a lot that we can't plan for right now. You know, you're used to having a certain size staff, and that is, you know, now smaller. You know, you probably weren't planning on the specific direction of Giving Day, Angie and Steven, but, you know, you made it work. So that's awesome. Another question, I'm going to try to kind of combine a few questions here. Are the callers recording each video after the call? Who uploads into ThankView, and, you know, how many can you expect a student to be able to make per hour? So really just speaking to the video production process there.
Yeah, are the callers recording each video after the call? Yes. I put them into ThankView immediately after they get off the phone and get a gift. And then they start recording it right through there. So they're uploading the video. And then what I do as a supervisor is I review it. And if there's something wrong, if there's something that I want them to reword, I'll send it back to them and workshop it a little bit with them. And then we'll move on from there. Once it gets approved, I just send it out. And then how many videos are realistic for a student to make per hour? When I was at home for the Giving Day campaign, I kind of timed myself. I figured out how many hours I had worked and how many videos I had made. And I realized that I made about a video every 6 minutes because I had to, there were times where I messed up and I wanted to re-record it. It ended up being a 1.5-minute video, 2-minute video each time. So that takes time as well. I also had to look up their information so I could make the video personal to them. Knowing if they were an alumni or a parent of alumni or just a friend or connected some way, and then what they do, and maybe just prayer requests and stuff like that, and getting to know them and then making the video personal to them was very important. So 6 minutes may be something to shoot for, but not all students can get there. I know some of ours were lagging behind a little bit slower. So I don't think everyone can hit that efficiency, but I think to expect at least a video every 10 minutes would be appropriate for that kind of campaign.
I'd have to say for Mankato, our daytime students are really, really good at doing the videos, and they get in a groove. And so I feel like they can do like 50 in an hour easy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about finding the groove.
You're doing shorter ones too, right?
Yes.
I mean, I think that's part of it too, is that I think what I saw too is I think
it really does depend.
Are doing them a little bit longer, and probably we need to crop that down a little bit. You know, get that down a little, you know, and that makes us move faster. But sometimes I think they were accidentally repeating themselves. You know, they were doing that. So I think we have to tighten that up a little bit. So I would agree, we probably could do more if we weren't trying to be as personalized as we are trying to be.
Definitely. Chelsea, you know, what was your answer to that question? You cut out for a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just said that our daytime students are rock stars at making the videos. So once they get in their groove, they just take it and run. And as Angie pointed out, we do try to make our videos 30 seconds or less. So there's an opportunity for them to get a lot done in an hour.
Definitely. Awesome. Thank you. A question from Mackenzie. Do your student callers have a dress code?
Ours do, yes. We have them wear something kind of business casual or a Minnesota State Mankato logo shirt.
Awesome.
But basically just from the top up. Like they can wear jeans as long as there's not holes in them, or yeah, we just want
kind of like how the rest of us are working from home right now.
Exactly.
Right.
And we also do have a few things in our closet in case a student was running from class and they were late or whatnot and they weren't wearing a Minnesota State Mankato shirt. We have like zip ups and jackets that we can provide them for the night.
Oh, awesome. Angie and Steven, any insight on that?
Well, I mean, yes, you can't look messy. I wouldn't say it's business of any sort, any business casual. For Giving Day and for things like that, yes, we try to make sure that they're wearing some kind of a school t-shirt-ish,
Mhm.
t-shirt-ish thing, something that identifies them from being from Cedarville. But yeah, they're asked to at least not look messy and no sweats and sweatshirts and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, during our Giving Day campaign, I remember Angie asking everyone to wear a Cedarville shirt, and most people did. I did, and I think that helps them identify that it's from our school, so that was good. And then just like normally in the call center, even when we weren't making videos to send to people, before Angie was a part of Cedarville and before she started that initiative, we were still expected to dress nicely with jeans and everything. So not show up to work messy, because you kind of dress up a certain way and you perform that way as well. If that
Yeah, I agree with that statement for sure.
Definitely. Another question, just to kind of, from me and also just a common question we get is, what kind of equipment do you use? So to record, do you use any external microphones? Just some of the equipment that helps you guys produce these videos.
Sure, I can start. We have 2 different Canon cameras, and we have a tripod for each of them. And so the way that it works in the call center is the student will get up out of their booth, go to this other room that has a lovely backdrop and the computer set up and the camera set up on the tripod so that it's at the correct height. And that's all part of the call center setup part that the supervisor does when they get in there early. And then they get in there, record the video, give the email address and name to the student supervisor, who then manually adds that person. And then they take out the SD card in the camera and put it in the computer. Kind of sounds like a lengthy process, but it's working pretty well for us. And then they find that video, attach that to the correct recipient, and then hit send.
Awesome.
For us, we have a webcam over each computer. And so people are able to go right from, they have the database right in front of them, so they can look at all the information and everything. They can open up in another tab, ThankView, and then just start recording right at their computer cubicle. So it's work from us. They can upload to our, what's it called? The ThankView cloud. And it's uploaded specifically for that person. I just review it that way. I think both ways would definitely work. I think there's something to say about going to a different room and recording there and then sending it back. I think that's excellent as well.
And kind of now that students are filming from home, are they using, their own webcam or an iPhone, or what standards have you put in place now that students are working from home and are kind of outside of your controlled environment of your call centers?
I had my student just make a nice space in her porch. And then she sent me her campaign as a test, and then I approved it and said it looks great. And awesome. Then she has free reign.
Awesome. Yeah.
I should mention too that during the call center, when it's up and running, we do have an external microphone that we use as well on the camera, one of the Rhodes with the dead cat on it.
Okay, awesome. And Chelsea, I may follow up with you asking if you have specific shopping links or anything to those external resources. Sure. It is a common question, and so being able to provide that could be really helpful.
I do have to say, though, as well, that during this crazy time that we're living in, I actually did a thank you file for one of our weekly thank yous instead of the student, just because I wasn't sure how it would work doing it from home. So I tested it out first. And then I uploaded the whole list, and then I used the notes feature that you can see right on the screen when you're recording. And my laptop webcam sounded and looked really good. I was surprised with the quality from home.
Awesome.
That's cool. That's cool. A couple of the standards that Angie had for people while they were making videos at home is she wanted there to be natural light, and she wanted it to look homely because we were addressing the fact that we are in our home because of the whole COVID-19 situation. And then she just wanted them to dress professionally. So.
Okay. Awesome. Another common question that we do get, around phone-a-thons is how you train your students. So what is the process like for just teaching your students how to use ThankView? I mean, you all have learned by now that it is a pretty intuitive platform, but what's your process?
Well, when we start out the year, and everybody's together, we train them on how to get into ThankView. We use the videos that ThankView has in terms of training and have the students go through that. Then we laugh a lot at the testing that they do. We laugh at each other's videos. That's the fun part. When they try it out and we all have to see it. And then Stephen, as if we get a new caller in, is the one that's providing that. I think, you know, I have to admit from this experience, and I was looking at some of the videos a little bit more. I think that we will have to put into place a little bit more of training and some suggestions on how they can improve. Because some people are natural at it. They do great. It's fabulous. And other ones you're like, well, that's not quite as great. And so, but I think they can learn. And I think we just have to have something a little bit more formal in place, because we're not there in their home to oversee it. And so, yes, when they're back in the call center, it's a little easier. But I do think we've learned something from this time. And that's why anytime you do a new campaign or anything like that, it's a great opportunity to learn something new and figure something out. And this is one of them. I think we just get a little bit better. I would say, you know, we don't do as many videos. So this is our first time doing that, and we're gonna improve, I think, from this.
I'd have to say at Mankato, we put in the job description that you will be filming videos of yourself so that they know that right off the bat. And then we show them a couple good examples. And then there's, I want to say I saw Lynn Wester had video tips that we show to students that, you know, touches on the eye contact with the camera, your lighting, your pose, your posture, smiling. That's a big one because then it looks really nice on the thumbnail. And yeah, for pledges, we try to train them to say, click the link below to fulfill your pledge online today. And then for gifts, we just make sure that they say gift and that you're making an immediate impact by giving by credit card tonight. So thank you so much for that. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's probably about it.
So very much a similar process, and it's training to even be a call center caller. You know, working through scripts and practicing the actual the art of the solicitation as well.
Indeed.
Awesome.
I think that's an excellent idea as well. Showing previous videos that have been successful or what are ideal for the program. I think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be the last call for questions to our attendees, but I wanted to give our panelists an opportunity to share any additional insight or perspective on, ThankView as it relates to your call center or just ThankView in general. Any insight, advice, lessons learned, dreams for the future of ThankView for you. Just any last words for the day.
I'll start. I just absolutely love ThankView. I swear I'm one of your #1 top fans ever. And so just a few unique ways that we've used ThankViews is that we have what we call the Minnesota Storyteller Series, which is in our College of Arts and Humanities. And we invite Minnesota artists to come and spend 3 days with students on campus, going into the classroom. And then also they do a private small concert in a little hall that can fit about 250 people. And so at the end of that, the communications coordinator in that college takes a video of the musician or artist that was on campus and then sends a thank you to everyone who attended the concert, which is pretty cool. We have a great success rate with that. We are thinking about this year using ThankView to notify students that they've received a scholarship and then have them, because you can have the video request feature, reply, excuse me. We're gonna ask them to record a video of them saying like, thank you so much for this scholarship. And then we can send that off to their donors. Since the students aren't on campus, because usually we have a 2-week thank you writing session, but we can't do that this year. So we're hoping to use ThankView that way and request student recipients to send us videos of them thanking their donors. We did a campus drive series. That was pretty fun. My director and I did a series of 4 videos telling campus about our campus drive, what our goals are, where we were along our journey to reach that goal. So that was pretty fun. kind of felt like we were our own stars of the campus. And every time we went somewhere, they'd be like, "Oh, I saw you on that video. Like, I'm going to support the campus drive." And so that was really cool.
That's awesome.
We are also going to use ThankView in the fall. Granted, call center's up and running, and have mentors for each new student caller. So then they'll get a ThankView saying, "Hey, you know, this is Chelsea. I'm the supervisor at the annual fund call center. And I would just like to welcome you to the team and let you know that I'm here for any questions that you might not feel comfortable asking Chelsea or any of the other higher ups." So that's going to be interesting to see how that works for caller retention and just kind of easing their nerves. I know students are usually very nervous at the beginning to make that first call, but hopefully if they know that they have someone watching their back, it'll make it a little easier. But yeah, I'll certainly share this list of unique ways.
Oh yeah, we would definitely love to share that and distribute it. You kind of touched on this. We did just get another question about, you know, have you guys thought ahead at all about what the fall will look like for your call center if, you know, we're still online?
I haven't really gone there because I'm hoping we won't need to.
Right.
Me too. I'm not thinking that way. I'm assuming we will be back. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
I wanted to add to I think a little, Chelsea, what I think they're doing, but because of where we are at, we had to cancel our honors day, which is usually where, you know, we have the scholarship students matched up and all that with their with the donor. And so we are going to be using ThankView for that and using the request to go out to student, you know, to the student so that they could record a thank you for their donor. I actually think this should have been done a long time ago, regardless of this. So it's actually a good thing that it forced this. And we have our major gift officers that are using it during this time. And so again, it's forcing, I mean, I try to sell ThankView to my colleagues, and sometimes, you know, they've got other things going on, so they didn't really come back, you know, they didn't really do anything with it, but they are now, I think it's now becoming much more, oh, this is something really we should be doing, and they're using it. And this is kind of a weird one. When I say weird, because it's not really a job thing, but one of my colleagues yesterday shared with the whole division using ThankView. He shared something that he and his wife were going through with a lost pregnancy and having to go into the doctor and things like that. And that, I'm just sharing that as an interesting way to use it.
Yeah.
Because, absolutely.
Because he was able to share something very personal with the team that was, I think, much more, much easier to do than trying to write it. So anyway, I share those little things that some of this has forced my colleagues to finally get on board.
Right.
Bravo, that's cool.
Buy-in.
Yeah. I will share one lesson learned real quick. So we had a campaign we were sending out for Giving Tuesday. We wanted to send it all out through ThankView because we had this beautiful video campaign planned out. And we tried to send it to more than 25,000 people and kind of got our hands slapped because we had a significant amount of bounces and spam reports. So to everyone listening, just make sure that you really know who you're sending to and that you don't reach that 25,000 per day cap, and maybe even reach out to your customer success manager to make sure they know of your plan and they can help you navigate it a little bit better than we did.
Definitely. Well, thank you all so much, Chelsea, Angie, Stephen, for being on the panel today. You have all shared just some amazing insight, and we're very grateful to tap into your wisdom a little bit to share with the rest of our partners. And thank you to everyone who was in attendance today. Really appreciate your questions and your active participation. We will be sending a follow-up email with this recording attached, as well as Chelsea's comprehensive list of ways that Mankato is utilizing ThankView, some other examples, tips and tricks, and things like that as well. But of course, if you have any questions, our support team is just super eager to help you. So please email support@thankview.com. If you have questions, need assistance with anything related to ThankView, we are happy to help. But thank you all so much for being here. Really appreciate your time today.
Yes, thank you. It was fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, had a good time. I hope a lot of people learned a lot from this.
Agreed.
Awesome.